What's up, everyone? How's it going today? Justin Japan here. Now, I might be a little late to the party, but I recently watched the new Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Johin, aka Demon Slayer Infiinity Castle. And I have a few thoughts. So I would say I'm somewhere between a casual fan and a hardcore fan of Kimetsu no Yaiba. I'm definitely more than a casual fan because I've read the manga from start to finish, which is something I don't think a casual fan would really do. But at the same time, I've only read through the manga once, so I've definitely forgotten a detail or two, where my ideal of a hardcore fan is someone who remembers every tiny detail of what's going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is the animation. Obviously, it's what Kimetsu no Yaiba is known for, having just absolutely stunning animation. More specifically, it's what Ufotable, the studio that makes Kimetsu no Yaiba, is known for. I've actually liked Ufotable since, I want to say 2014. I think that's when, if I remember correctly, that's when Fate's Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works came out, which Ufotable also animated. And that anime still holds up today. The fight scenes in that are absolutely gorgeous. They're not quite up to Kimetsu no Yaiba level because it came out 10 years ago. But overall, 10 years later, Unlimited Blade Works, the animation still holds up. All that to say, the animation was absolutely god tier in Infiinity Castle. And if you're like me and you've read the manga and you already know the story, honestly, you should just go for the animation. So next, very briefly, I want to talk about the soundtrack, which is also really good. When you couple the animation and the soundtrack, it just makes everything feel a little more epic compared to reading the manga, which is part of why I like going to see the anime. So yeah, just based on the animation and music, so far it's a 10 out of 10. Now, where the movie does start to lose some points, in my opinion, is unfortunately with the main story. Now, I thought it was a pretty good adaptation of the manga. Keep in mind, it's been 2-3 years since I read the manga, so I could be forgetting a detail or 2 or 10. I don't know. You can let me know down in the comments below if you read the manga, whether or not you thought it was a pretty good adaptation. But more specifically, I felt something was off with the pacing of the story. Partly because they throw so many flashbacks at you. Like, the movie is 2.5 hours long, and you could probably cut a third of the length if you cut out all the flashback scenes. Granted, there were a couple flashback scenes that I thought were really needed, but overall, they kind of weighed down the flow of the movie. Which, I know flashbacks are kind of something they always do in anime, and for some reason, I don't remember. I'm sure there were a lot of flashbacks in the manga, but I don't remember them bothering me as much when I read through the manga. I'm not sure if it's because I was reading something versus watching it, but the pacing hurts it at times. Like, it feels like a 2.5 hour movie, which is a pretty bad thing to say about a movie, I think. So this next part's going to be a little difficult to talk about without any major spoilers. But this is my idea for how they could have really helped the pacing of the movie. There's a specific fight versus Upper Moon 2. If you've seen the movie or read the manga, you know what I'm talking about, because the order of the fights in the movie is, from what I remember, the same as the manga. So they show a little bit of the start with the fight with Upper Moon 2. That's a very minor spoiler. I'm not going to spoil what happens in the actual fight. But basically what happens in the manga, they show start of Upper Moon 2 fight, another big fight, rest of Upper Moon 2 fight. And one way I think they could have really helped the pacing was just move this start the Upper Moon 2 fight and just show the whole thing in the next movie. Because to my understanding, they're animating the final arc of Kimetsu no Yaiba in a series of 3 movies. This was the first, and there's going to be 2 more. So I think if they move that part, that I can't really talk about in detail, if they move that to the next movie, I think that would have really helped the pacing. So if you've already watched Kimetsu no Yaiba and Infiinity Castle, please let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the movie, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!